It can also be used to skip very many things. For example, what we just saw of Safer Sephiroth very slowly dissolving away after the fight, that takes like a full minute, that animation. If you defeat Safer Sephiroth using Vincent's mug, it will skip the animation of him dissolving away and just instantly end the fight and move you on. Pretty crazy. But yeah, so that's fun. And that's gonna be about it from me and from Final Fantasy VII. So Ace, do you have any closing words or self-promotion or anything of that nature to shout out?
Not really, I guess, other than if you want to learn how to run this game, Dash Retro's speedrun tutorial is definitely what I'd recommend looking at.
Well, thank you. And yeah, I'm Dash Retro, twitch.tv/Dash Retro. I stream full-time, almost every weekday. Like, I stream every weekday that I can. The days that I don't are exceptions. So yeah, I stream every weekday. I speedrun FF7 a lot, but I do other stuff too, you know, casual retro game playthroughs. I'm going to be learning the Mario RPG speedrun pretty soon, for example, and stuff like that. So yeah, casual retro plus speedruns, and that's that. Every weekday. So thank you so much to Really Really Longathon for having me. This was very fun. I love this speedrun, and so, you know, any chance to show it off is great. And yeah, thank you guys for the donations toward ACLU while we were going, especially Ace with the over $100. So yeah, thank you, everybody for that as well. And that's gonna wrap it up from me. Thank you. And so yeah.
Hello, I am Alexis, and today we're gonna go and do Valkyria Chronicles New Game Plus. Uh, for this, this used to not be a thing, but now it is. We just start from a prologue file, which is very convenient because we need very specific characters for the run, and this file already has them, and I should presumably also have the muscle memory for it. We'll see how I do, though. So, time starts when it's really weird. It's when you load the game. So, 3, 2, 1, go. That's around the start. This is the menu mention because we don't have the units we need yet. And then we're gonna get 1 scout. We're gonna get 2 shock troopers. And we're gonna get 2 lancers. And 1 sniper. We actually use snipers and lancers in this run. And then, non-story units aren't equipped, so we're gonna have to do some equipping here. I will go into what these are in a little bit, but basically they're very nice weapons that will let us get the ranges to do what we needed. More. Right. That's all the menus for the run. Start, and it's pretty short. Now on the prologue. So, a few things you may notice, by the way, I don't have to go into book mode in New Game Plus, because New Game Plus is very short on downtime. I do have to go and master these though. So, we're going to get into Valkyria gameplay in a bit. We see a character like this. We can walk around to as much as that orange bar is. Once that runs out, I can't walk. So I have to be pretty careful when moving throughout this run, because a lot of the things I'm going to do, if I were to, like, not look at the screen for a little bit or move even slightly to the left or right, you will not be able to walk the location. But unfortunately for this, it does not really matter, as there's only 3 units, and what we're going to do is get to the minimum range and shoot them. We have a gun called S20. It has the best accuracy for any weapon, so it's really, really good for taking out enemies that you don't have to do a lot of damage to. And Vulcan comes pretty quick with it, because he is story unit. And Chapter 1. We're going to actually use Vulcan quite a bit the first 2 missions, and then he will disappear. That's Alicia. We saw her briefly. She's gonna be our main character throughout the run, but not for the first 2 ones. So, our town is being attacked. We're gonna go and take out the leader. We're gonna go and rely on S20 for this. And,
Enemy sighted. Hostile sighted.
hopefully land 4 out of 5 shots. Sometimes it misses because they're covered by, that sandbag, and headshots don't really count if you're in cover in this game. So, after we go and kill the leader, a tank comes, and we're not able to go and defeat this tank, so we're gonna go and flee after this enemy turn. We usually don't have to watch enemy turns in this run, but early game is a bit of an exception, as they really would like you to go and take a while to take on this tank. Normally, tanks have a multiplier of ×10 when you attack their weak spot, the little glowy stuff. But this tank is unique, and it's only 1.5. So it's going to take a little bit to kill.
Ready to go.
And by that I mean that we're going to have to wait a whole chapter. Instead, we're just going to go and flip. And that just means we walk welcome to the goal. So Vulcan's gonna go off and get a tank, and while he's doing that, Alicia's gonna be stalling for time in Chapter 2. So for this mission, you need the tank to arrive, not because we're gonna use the tank, but we need it so we can use something called orders. And for whatever reason, we required the tank to be.
My turn, okay?
So we're gonna just try to make these enemy turns go as quickly as we can.
Enemy
So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take Alicia. She has something called ZM Karna. That's a really powerful. And so we're gonna have her just stand around here. And the enemy AI is set to really want to destroy that gate. That's their goal for this. So, they're all gonna rush, and they're all gonna rush right where Alicia's standing. And then Alicia's gonna go and basically one or two shot every single enemy phase because they don't have many units. Unfortunately, there is this one scout. The scout is very silly, by the way. We get the Watchman battle, and depending on how this goes, that's actually good luck, depending on how good the Watchman is. But more Alicia. There's gonna be that one more unit that runs forward, and they are gonna die very quickly. Alright, turn 2, there is no tank still, this will be the last turn. So their enemy tank is going to shoot our wall. It's going to make Alicia a little concerned, and then we're going to go and be able to go and take out the tank. I should point something out about the overhead view transition. It's very laggy on PC, and it's one of the main reasons that PS4 is faster. Very odd how this game is faster on console compared to PC. Alright, have Vulcan. We can now go and do some stuff. I'm gonna go and use Patient, and this one will go and make it so defense is ignored, which is very good for this tank because it has very high.
My turn, okay?
And it's going to take 2 rounds with Alicia. I'm going to move a little bit closer to the weak point. We don't have to hit the weak point, actually. We can just hit the body. But sometimes, because CMCAR9 and doesn't have the best accuracy, you can hit the treads. And, they don't do any damage to them. And that was a potential. We'll get a lot of those throughout the run. Basically, they're a 10% chance of happening. And for the most part, they're just going to be a little time loss here. Alicia's the best unit in the game, which is simultaneously really good and really bad, because he has so many potentials, but kind of are overkill for what we need. Which is going to make sense when we get to the chapters where we can use the non-story units, which is right now. That's kind of the tutorials now over. Then I'll be using some good amount of the run. He's basically just as strong as Alicia, because he has CMCAR9, but he doesn't have many of the cut-in potentials that we saw earlier, so he's not gonna bleed time, like, throughout the run. And we will be seeing that scene almost every mission. It's kind of a nice little break with Vulcan kind of shouting at us. Now, time to use.
Okay, I got it.
We're gonna avoid those sandbags. When you go over them, you move a little
I found one.
extra, but the animation's pretty slow, and we have a lot of movement as your elite scouts. So I'm gonna go around this corner, and we're gonna try to do a double. Good job. So this is gonna be kind of the standard gameplay of Valkyria Chronicles. They're a basis, and the only thing we need is no unit in the base. As long as there are no units in the base, we can go and win. So we basically are going to try to avoid the levels as much as we can. And, get to the base, which is why, yeah, we'll be doing a lot of scout rushing, especially in New Game Plus. Is a bit durable. Like, this chapter in New Game is an engineer, actually. But here, we can just go and... There's actually a strat with this where you can use Alicia, revolving her getting a potential, but it's usually slower on average. Instead, we're gonna go and use a very good order for early game. Also, the story for this one is very silly. We took a of tank, underwater, and that's how we ambush the enemy. Now we're gonna destroy a bridge. So first, we're gonna take a shortcut.
Spotted an enemy.
If you destroy that rubble, you can kind of like go through here.
Spotted an enemy.
Then we're gonna go and take another shortcut. That tank's in our way, but that shock trooper is gonna help us. And we're gonna end here, and we're gonna use that order I mentioned. It's gonna be called mortar support.
All right, listen up.
It basically is, well, a mortar, and it's in a pretty big radius. It's not the strongest attack, but it's really good for early game. Because you saw there was a shock trooper formerly there, and that shock trooper was crouching, which means headshots wouldn't work. So I can't do the double kill like I did in Chapter 3, at least efficiently. So instead we're gonna just go and do that. We'll be using this order twice throughout the run, which is pretty impressive for it, given that it doesn't do much damage. Anyways, Chapter 5. There's our pig, by the way. They were very briefly on screen. We will not be seeing the pig in this run. We're going to go and capture a supply base, and this chapter is usually faster to use Alicia, but for the sake of safety, we're going to use Maville, and we're going to use Defense Boost,
Squad 7,
which
move out.
is just very simple order. It increases your defense, and even though we're in early game and New Game Plus, it's very important to actually use Defense Boost, because we're going to face the first boss of the game. And while we don't have to fight them, we do have to run past them, and they do a lot of damage.
Okay, I got it. I'll dodge everything you throw at me.
Also, you might see those little landmines. It might seem like I do a little weird movement sometimes around them, but landmines in Valkyria 1 have huge hitboxes, like way larger than it looks. So I'm gonna be pretty cautious around them. And in the later games, landmines are like much smaller hitboxes. Like you can walk like right next to them, like practically on them. This game, they are very scary. And here's our boss. He spawns when we get to this gate, and it's gonna be a big tank. See pretty soon. Nice, we got double movement. This potential fills our movement gauge completely, which is going to be required for some missions, but in this one, we're going to do a grenade, double kill those shock troopers, go into the base, and then hopefully take this scout out.
I'm on it.
I should mention, there's a chance the enemies in this game dodge. And a dodge is very bad. It's pretty rare because the early game enemies, which are most of the enemies we're gonna fight, have low dodge rates, but there is a slight chance. Hopefully that's just something I don't actually see. Because backups in Valkyria can be kind of difficult due to the lack of CP. You can see there's a little, like I mentioned, we have these like little symbols in the top of the screen. Not so many times I can do stuff until the turn ends. And when I can do stuff, the enemy moves, and the enemy moves a lot of CP. That's the reason this game seems so fast. Like, Valkyria is pretty slow if you let the enemy play the game. Unfortunately, they are not going to be able to do that.
Squad 7, move out.
Also, might have noticed that I'm using Alicia for once. We kind of have to for this because potential things. Maville is allergic to deserts, and so every single time he walks in this, there's a chance he'll get a potential called desert allergies, and that costs us each time. This means it would be very costly walking through this desert with so instead we're gonna risk it with Alicia. So resist crossfire, we'll see this quite a few times in the run. It reduces the enemy fire by a lot. And don't like the use Alicia. As good as the potential as it is, it has a chance every single time an enemy shoots. So it's 10% every single time an enemy starts shooting. So like, there's a shock trooper and a tank. So it's rolling it twice for that. And you kind of can see how it adds up throughout the
Think you
run.
can stop me?
That we...
Don't
Man,
even think of
well,
dodging.
that's nice. Undodgeable shot. See, we don't have to worry about dodges. And we're gonna take out that shock trooper. This is a very silly mission, by the way. Because it's, one unit in the base, and once they're taken down, there's like this giant map
My turn, okay?
to tank. Like, there's 8, but, we just have to take out that one unit, and be going after this. Alright, and onward to chapter 7. Gonna be a bit of a long mission last few, as we unfortunately are not able to one-turn this. This is going to be the first boss fight, real time. This time it's actually a boss, as in not going to be able to run past them. We're going to go and deploy a shock trooper, and actually are going to be using lancers in they're basically the anti-tank units, but usually they're not very useful because as we saw in chapter 2, we can kind of just take out a tank with a rifle, so they're not a problem, but this is a special tank. We don't...
I'm on my way now. I'm feeling extreme.
So we're gonna use Alex. You saw that thing called ultimate damage. That's an ultimate potential. And the way those work
I don't think
is
so.
they always activate. And they're not a cutting potential like neutralize is either. So they don't waste any. So they're really, really good. That gives increased anti-personnel. If you're curious. There's an ultimate for like every attribute. We'll be using 3 of them throughout the run. We're gonna use the mortar support. And you can see there's a Lancer. They live. That's because they have mortar resistance.
I'm feeling extreme.
So we're gonna
Why
hope we
you?
get like 2 shots. The gun we're using, by the way, MPX3 for Alex, is the most inaccurate weapon in the game, but it also has really, 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 really high anti. So, we're basically just using that and ultimate damage and hoping we land a shot or 2. And this is our boss. We have to wait until turn 4 till we can engage them. So we're just gonna, now that we cleared all the enemies, so the enemy don't do anything, we're just gonna wait.
My words.
There's a 10-50% that he doesn't turn. It just loses time. Not really too dangerous, thankfully. This is going to be a little tutorial what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to go and knock down these rock walls, and they'll slow down the tank, but we aren't going to need to have to do. This isn't supposed to be done in like turns minimum, but thankfully with the strat we have, we can do this in 4. So you can see multiple weak points that are glowing now. We can go and attack the ones. When you destroy one of these, they go under. Like the other ones will go back under, so you can't shoot them anymore, which is very bad.
For you, sure.
So we're gonna go and deal with
You ever
that
seen muscles like
by
these before?
weakening them just enough so we can finish them. So ultimate anti-armor plus
Muscles.
the weapon, it's like 001. That's will do just enough damage to not kill, but also enough for us to go and take out the weapon. Other than saying, it looks scary because I get like all these things like double tank damage and tank killer. None of those things stack with any of the stuff we have, so there's no way that like we can lose this kill due to like RNG. It is 100% consistent. So one more.
You ever seen muscles like these before? Yeah.
And then we're gonna go and use our tank to destroy the raid. First, though, because the tank has very weak anti-armor, we're gonna have to use Demolition Boost. And I'm also going to safety save because I only have one chance to do that. And, I have messed this up before. It's not too precise, but it kind of is.
Entering combat.
And we also don't use the position anymore for nuking, so I don't do it as but you got it. Like a little 2 to the left 8, and you only get. But we're good. So now we destroyed all 3 at once. So it's gonna play all the cutscenes at once, and we're gonna get a bunch of dialogue, because you're not quite supposed to do it like this. And then we're gonna go to 2. Very funny when people play this game casually. This is a very hard mission because you see this character Salvaria. She comes in and she comes with a bunch of reinforcements, and it's very scary to like anyone. But we never get to see any of that. So now we're gonna use is 20, which is way stronger of a weapon. Basically, her job is just to go and kill things as quickly as possible. She can 2 rounds. And that is chapter 7. We'll be using Audrey one more time in like a very long time, but still return. I've always liked her dialogue. So it's nice that she's actually usable in the run. Right, they're gonna say, don't let Maximilian get away, but he gets away. And now we're gonna go to a forest. And what happens here is Alicia and Welkin are gonna get hit by a mortar. And they're gonna fall into the forest. Alicia's gonna hurt her ankle and have a little trouble walking. And we need to kind of stealth our way through the forest. Like chapter 7, this is not one turnable. So it's gonna be a bit of a long mission. They're gonna go tell us that Welkin's gonna take point, but it's better for Alicia to take. As you can see, the little meter is much smaller than it usually is, and she walks a lot slower. So that's gonna play up on how we're gonna like deal with stealth parts of it. But before anything stealth related, we're just gonna go and take out this. The reason is they'll move around a lot, and that will just take some time. They're really convenient to kill, because they're kind of right there. Shut and take a shot.
My turn, okay?
Then we're gonna walk Alicia up to this tree over here and point her towards the wall. This is gonna be so we can have Alicia speak the Welkin, because there's these little plants, and when you get them, it increases Alicia's movement. So, and the trigger for it is very big, so we can just go around here. This is not the plants. Trigger is not that big. It's animal trails, which we'll also be using quite a few times throughout this chapter. Alright. Tap the plant. And Alicia's gonna be able to walk much further now. Then we have to do the Earth. Valkyria does have position manipulation, But this game doesn't have too much of it. This is actually the one time we do it run. And hopefully I got it right. I'll know based on how the shuffling is. So far, we're looking good. Alright, nice. As long as the unit in the far corner goes twice, it means I did it correctly. And they're gonna drop a mortar on us. No one is there. You also can see those searchlights on
Here
there.
we go.
They are gonna play right now. Basically, if you get seen by these, mortar will be called in. In New Game Plus, these aren't as dangerous, but we're still gonna avoid them because the animations are a bit slow,
Hostile sighted.
and they're still pretty dangerous.
Enemy sighted.
And I am going to safety save for this part. This is one of those times in the run where if that scout, we're gonna take out that scout right next to that
Here we
structure
go.
part. This is one of those times where if you get a dodge, it's super, super scary. And the backups are kind of not there. So we're gonna have to make sure we get it. Because of that structure, they're a very powerful unit. Not only do they do a lot of damage,
My turn.
but
Okay?
we're gonna get the fence down. And they're a named unit. They're called enemy ace. Enemy aces have very, very high dodge rates. So unless Alicia were to get undodgeable shot, we wouldn't be able to deal with it. And yeah, we're gonna landmine boost. The only time we do it in the run. Just helps Alicia make that cycle. Alright, and I should point out something, this is doable in 3 turns, but it requires Alicia to get double movements. I have, 2 more tries for it, otherwise we'll just wait the turn 4.
My turn, okay? Enemy unit spotted.
And due to Alicia's slower movement speed, we're gonna do this a little different. Vulcan can kind of just run on past the unit,
Enemy sighted.
but Alicia, she's gonna go and take the animal. And that's one of the reasons we need to take out the scout, as the scout would actually be able to see me here, and then the tractor would see me,
Moving out.
and I would very quickly be torn to shreds. So, very important to take the scout. Alright. Alicia here. I'm gonna do it on turn 4. So turn 4, or whatever the final turn of this mission is for you, you no longer have to worry about the searchlights. Instead, we're just gonna run past them. Because at this point, it's just faster than trying to avoid them. Go into this,
Gotta love nature.
and we might avoid this one. And you're welcome to the goal. And walk out.
Moving out.
And that is 8. This is going to be the only stealth. I've always found it silly because this game is the stealth tag on Twitch, and it's like we don't do too much stealth, but we do have to do this one. Nice, good job. This is also going to be the first 2-part mission, so I'm not going to be in Chapter 9 mission. Instead, I'm going to be in 8. So I'm going to go and just tap over here. And this is going to be Welkin and Alicia reuniting the squad. We are going to use Welkin, but we're not going to be using Alicia. Also, I deployed the 2 units, Rosie and Largo. They are leader units. Basically, they give us extra CP, and this mission is, CP perfect, so I can't, like, afford to have any less than I... So first, we can't use the tank, which is not good. We don't need to use orders in this one, but we do have to go and shoot with the tank. And because of that, we need to get Vulcan over.
Gotta love nature. Here we go.
The old strat involved multiple landmines, but we're going to instead make it a little tighter on CP, but increase the speed of the run. And also, the landmine boosts, as silly as they are, they're kind of inconsistent sometimes.
Here we go.
So, it's good just to go and cut them out. Vulcan has arrived, and we are, due to the fact that we are going to be using the tank for the first time as a tank, we are immediately going to go and safety save. The tank, even in New Game Plus, which is considerably more accurate, we have, like, upgrades in it. I usually compare it to Digimon World 2. That's kind of how you do it with this game, and we have all the little wheel thingy with it.
Entering combat.
And if the tank were to miss, because this wall requires you to use the tank, if I were to miss one of those shots, would basically have to go and reset. In this case, just reload save. Speaking of saves, we have 1 CP due to the objective, and enemies can dodge. So, I'm gonna save and hope my veal is both accurate and lucky. And also, we're using the tank to kind of block the first barrage. I do get attack down, which seems really bad, and normally we would not be able to go and win, but ZMCAR 9 plus headshot is very strong. And so we can still win, even with attack down. And we just gotta capture the base. It's actually been a pretty long time since we've just had to capture a base. Due to 781 being permission in the run. And immediately after, we get to go back to very, very short in Chapter 9. We're gonna use another unit type called a sniper. They get used twice in the run, or 3 times in the run, actually, this. But this is really cool. So, basically, before what we used to do is we used to use a scout to take out. So there's an enemy APC, and we can't use anti-armor stuff on it because they kidnapped the princess. So we can't just, like, shoot the APC with the tank or something. So we only can use shock troopers, scouts, or snipers. Or snipers. But, originally you had to use, like, an order or, like, get really close to the APC. And this APC is, like, the scariest thing in the, like, it shreds units that aren't buffed with, like, defensive stuff. So, like, it was super scary and RNG dependent. But, there is an anti-armor.
Understood.
And, Arena has ultimate accuracy, which means the bad accuracy of the gun doesn't matter. Because this turns it into a pointer.
Nothing personal.
So, it works really, really nice. We have a perfectly accurate weapon that is very good at it. That allows us to win this mission very easily. Okay. Time for Chapter 10. This is going to be the first of 2 missions that are basically the missions, where the goal is to get the tank to the end. So because of that, we're just going to focus on using it. Also, we're playing Alicia. One thing to note is, game over conditions in this are either the tank is destroyed or your enemy base is captured. Those are the 2 normal ones. I'm deploying Alicia in case I get bad luck when doing the first turn, just to have some protection in
Here
the
we go.
base. As otherwise,
Enemy
the
sighted.
enemies would just be able to walk into my base, and that would not be good.
I'll make it work.
So since enemy phases are going to be a thing during this mission, we're going to be trying to minimize them. And to do that, we're going to just take out every enemy that's in our path.
Entering
For
combat.
the most part, since we're doing this at pretty close range, Vulcan should be cooperative.
Gotta love nature. Fire!
And sometimes he'll like whiff, like that one he like whiffs sometimes if like you don't get a good camera angle on it.
Entering
Thankfully I
combat.
did. This one is a little
Hostile
stressful.
sighted.
So the shock trooper, so we can't take them out with a body shot. So instead we're gonna use the machine gun.
Now!
Just aim for the head. That is gonna be turn 1. What's kind of interesting is usually in doing this chapter, we like to go and avoid the enemy doing anything. Like we use something called a smoke round to cover ourselves, but it's actually faster to just take the enemy turns here. Because we're doing it in 3 turns that way. And the enemy turns, I can see it.
Entering combat.
Alright, and I'm gonna go and switch to my mortar. As coming up is a
Enemy
double
sighted.
kill. See, there's a shock
Gotta love
trooper,
nature.
and behind them is another shock trooper. So I'm gonna start right on here. Turn the camera. Launch the mortar. Alright, and we got the double kill. Once again, just trying to get go forward. The searchlight I always remember because the tank moves much slower on PC, the one further. So it was a really hard cycle on PC because of how slow the tank was. And then when I switched to PS4, it's like super consistent on making. Like you would do entirely separate
Here we go.
PC just due to the tank speed. And yeah, we have to take out these tanks. They kind of like have a block bridge just to make it so you have to take them out. We'll have to do that for the next bridge as well. And end turn. Turn 3 will be our final turn. There will be a Lancer that's do their very best.
Underminer fire.
And then we'll go to the final.
Damage minimal.
Alright, done with our mortars. Turn 3.
Here we go.
So turn 3 is going to be kind of just like turn 2. We have a bridge, there's a tank blocking us, and we're going to destroy it. We're a little bit further away from the tank, but I'm going to get as close as I can to it
Enemy sighted.
and make sure we're going to...
Now. Entering combat.
As due to how AP works, it's very important that we never have a point in this game where we can't progress forward. Because that way we would just kind of waste our good AP. Because it goes down by 1/3 every single time we like do an action.
Entering combat.
You can see it's a lot less now. So that's why it's very important to take out those tanks. More, and we will go and get welcome to the time for 10. So we got walking up the elevator, and we're now in armored train. So the armored train is very high up, and it's also just we cannot deal damage. So instead, what we're gonna do is
Our job is to
we're
make sure
gonna
that
go
bomb
and
gets-
place a bomb, and it's gonna be how we take counts. Oh, first we're gonna use our sniper. They can't hit the bomb, unfortunately. The hitbox isn't gonna be visible. We do have to take out a bridge. And said bridge is, very strong defensively, so we're gonna use an anti-sniper. Alright, and makeshift bridge is down. And now we can formally begin the mission. So once this is taken down, there's no more reinforcements, which means we can plant them up. And so they're also going to, for some reason, turn the elevator on. This is very, very good because now we can actually win. Without that on, we are not able to walk to the end. And I'm going to be using a new potential, or awakened potential. Basically, this increases the chances for potentials to happen. And the reason we're going to be doing it is this particular mission is one of those ones we really, really need double move. Because the goal is very, very far away, and we kind of don't want to rely on the 10% chance for it.
Can't beat the smell of fresh soil.
So I have
My turn, okay?
4 more chances to get double movement. If we don't get it, we'll have to go in or save and reload, but we probably will get it. Alright, there's our first one.
Don't forget to review your equipment.
Can't beat the smell of fresh soil. Think you can stop me?
A little late on resist crossfire, but we got it.
Weapon. No, a shield.
This part can be a little scary because we do take a lot of damage. So I'm going for safety. We should get something called first aid boost due to most of them we got due to awakened potential. So we're gonna go in safety save here just in case we don't get resist fire, because there's a tank and a shock trooper they're gonna be shooting at us.
My turn, okay?
Along with a scout, but they're not scary.
Think you can stop me?
And if we didn't get that,
I'm a
I
weapon.
probably would
No,
already be
a
dead.
shield.
You also get Valkyria, and I haven't mentioned that one yet. It basically boosts all of Alicia's stats, including her defense, and
My turn,
there's actually
okay?
some kills we can get specifically with Valkyria.
I'm a weapon. No,
But
a shield.
that's gonna be the next mission. Alright, down to our last CP. So we're gonna save here. Hopefully Alicia can be.
This can't be good. Think you can stop me?
Alice is gonna live.
I'm a weapon. No, a shield. Once
Alright,
more,
yay,
with
we got
you.
double movement. Now all we have to do is up the elevator and shoot the bomb. Will we get a dodgeable shot?
Don't even
Yay,
think
we
of
got it.
dodging.
It's very funny when you get a dodgeable shot here, as the bomb cannot dodge. Because it is a bomb that is, well, sitting there. But we can get an undodgeable shot, even for an inanimate object. And we've now taken out the bridge, which means the armor train is no more. And on to chapter 11. This is going to be probably the scariest in the run, by the way. So basically, we're going to go and storm a beach, just with Alicia. And we're going to take a lot of damage during it. And even though we're going to use more defensive orders than we did in... it is still going to be quite a lot of damage.
Clear out the Imperial shoreline defenses. Squad 7, move out.
This is also going to be the most orders we're going to use for a single unit. Usually we max out at using 2 orders, but in this case we're going to use 3. So first, one we used last time, Awaken Potential. We're going to need double movement, but it's a little more cooperative than 10-2, as I only need double movement 1. Then we're going to use Defense Boost.
This is an order.
Defense Boost and Resist Crossfire, which we're probably going to get due to having Potential, they stack. And that's 2 defensive buffs. Then we're going to do one order that we usually don't do, Attack Weak Spot. This is the only time in the run this is useful, but basically what it does, it makes all attacks like you're attacking the weak spot. So like, if an enemy is crouching, they're usually immune to headshots, but this is going to make it so that's not the case.
I'm going in. Cover me.
Think you can stop
Alright,
me?
gotta resist crossfire.
Enemy unit spotted.
Also, all of the enemies here have poison. So we're gonna get both defense and back down. And we have cleared the beach. A little bit more ahead of that by now. It's always silly to me. Alright, and I'm gonna save here. Because we're gonna be running a bunch across like a very large amount of enemies. And if I don't get a resist crossfire right away, there will not be an Alicia.
Think you can stop
She gets it, but like if she doesn't, it's very silly.
sighted.
Stay close out there.
Can't beat the smell of fresh soil. Enemy sighted. Enemy sighted.
And this is the part where just every enemy in the game shooting at
Once
us.
more with feeling.
We got a double movement.
Do you still have sufficient ammo?
Enemy
And
unit spotted. I'm taking
I'm
extra
gonna heal.
special care.
Because we're going to be running past this and this, and they're going to do a lot of damage.
We're throwing fire.
I'm going to try to go to the corner to kind of avoid them.
I'm a weapon. No, a shield. Can't beat the smell of fresh soil.
And now we are good to go.
I'm going in. Cover me.
We're going to be doing a double kill again
Can't beat the smell of fresh soil.
on our next turn.
I'll survive. Think you can stop me? I'm a weapon. No, a shield. Don't even think of dodging.
Alright. And we got our potential, and now we win. And that is what is so good about having attack stop.
Shooting back up.
Can't beat
Because we have attack down, and because they're crouching, as well as a shock trooper elite, it would normally take a very, very long time to take out that unit. But thanks to attack down, we can actually take them out much easier. And now for a bit of a breather chapter between the 2 hardest in the run is chapter 12. We're gonna go back to the map that we were at in the very early one. And this is going to be very similar to chapter 6, where it's kind of just a straight line where we have to take out some enemies in a base at the end.
We're taking back our homies. Squad
We
7,
can use
move
Alicia
out.
here and hope for resist crossfire. But it's much safer to just use Mobile. But we will have to use Defense Boost, because there's a specifically one enemy that does a lot of damage. We're gonna see this enemy twice, and what they are is
Brace up and get ready to defend
a
yourself.
turret, and when they attack, they tend to shred like infantry.
Hey, I got it.
So defense boost will take care of
Found
that.
an enemy. I found one. I found one.
Try to keep an eye on your teammates' positions.
Gonna come up right around that,
Proceed with caution. Spotted
over
an
there.
enemy.
Thankfully, due to having defense boost, we barely took
Okay, I
any.
got it. I found one.
Without defense boost, I would very likely be dead. And this is also one of the funnier things. So, this is a enemy ace, and they have undodge. They're very hard to, like, they dodge a lot, right? But they're also a sniper, and snipers don't turn around to face you while they're running. So, like, basically, it's the only type of enemy they could give this to that's required for the story. That doesn't any problem. Because, if we're behind an enemy, they cannot dodge. And since they don't turn around, it's very easy to be behind them. Alright, 1 words for Chapter 13. This is both, like, the coolest looking mission, and also one of the hard ones to do. Good amount of it is due to luck, though. Basically, we're gonna go and not be able to use orders for a teeny bit of time. As, there's a big rocket. And basically, Vulcan can't be deployed. And you can see because we don't have the cutscene with Vulcan. Sorry. This means that we can't do things the way we usually do it, where we can just, like, buff a scout and go and take everything out. Instead, we're gonna just use a scout and not buff them.
Enemy unit spotted.
Makes it a little bit more.
Can't beat the smell of fresh
First
soil.
part is to get across this field. I'm also staying, like, in a weird movement. That bunker, they can see you from really far away, and they have very high attack power. They wouldn't kill Alicia, but I would have to heal.
Enemy sighted. Don't even think of
And
dodging.
now we're gonna take out this enemy. Because this is a 2-turn, and,
The enemy up to.
they're sitting right where I'd like to stop moving. Which is right here. So we're gonna go. Huh? Very quick enemy turn. If the enemy can't see you, enemy turns are very... And now we are going to safety save. This is probably the biggest and the last part as well in the entire game where enemies can dodge. Because basically after this group of enemies that are in that base,
Enemy unit spotted.
we have no other enemies we're gonna fight that are like can dodge.
Check it out, soldiers.
I'm gonna try to line this up and hopefully tap down twice. It's a little finicky because in New Game I only have to tap once, but in this you have to tap down twice.
Unit spotted.
Thankfully, so that clears the base. The reason, by the way, we go into the corner for that and do a trick shot isn't because it's very fast, but rather because it will make the enemies turn to the wall where they got attacked from. And that meant that the shock trooper on the right is facing the wall. And shock troopers, they don't have the best vision, so only one of them shot me. And as you can see, I'm almost dead. So if 2 of those were to attack me, if you look at my health, I probably would be dead. Which is why it's very important to do it. Anyway, we have 1 more obstacle.
Entering combat.
So I'm gonna leave Vulcan. This is faster, so we'll go and let Vulcan see what he can do. And he actually landed this. Good job, Vulcan. This saves us time because otherwise we'd have to use an order or a 2-round with a shot. But you can just use the tank and it's quite a bit faster. There is chapter 13. In chapter 14, we are not going to be able to use Alicia, as it's going to be revealed that she is a Valkyria. And therefore, she's going to be walking around the field in her platform. It doesn't really play much of a role other than the fact that we have to watch it. Skip. This mission used to be a 2-turn for the longest time, but it is now a 1-turn.
Move out.
However, the 1-turn is kind of tight as well, as it's going to require double movement. So hopefully we don't get lucky with it. This actually requires only 1 double movement, though. So it's a bit less, like, it's a bit more lenient than 2. In fact, 2 is the only mission that requires 2 doubles. So Lisa's just gonna go and have fun. She basically one-shot everyone in this form. She does this forever. If I just didn't play the game anymore and just kept going for 20 turns before that's the turn limit, she will just keep doing this. We'll call reinforcements and she will take them out. There we go. Now to begin the attack. So the first thing we're going to do, as we tend to do at the beginning of most missions, is use orders. We're going to be using 2 on Mavia. Mega Potential to help with luck and getting and penetration so we can do enough damage in order to get. Right now, the objective is just to capture a base, but when we capture that base, the objective is going to change. And gonna make a save again. Due to us having, we have 3 tries to get double movement once.
I'm unstoppable! Right in front of you!
Alright, no double movement the first time.
I'm on it! I'll dodge everything you throw at me.
Gonna go and capture the base. And when you capture the base, it's going to take Alicia out of her Valkyria. And then the enemy is going to have an ambush where they do a pincer attack, where 2 very, very strong tanks are going to be deployed. One will be at the top left, where we're headed towards with Mobile, and the other will be in the bottom right. We have a Lancer, Audrey, that we deployed. She'll take care of that one, while our Scout will be taking care of this one.
Spotted an enemy! I'm not even
Alright.
wounded here.
And we got double movement, so
The target is just in front
we're
of you.
gonna be able to head to our tank.
Fire! Fire! We'll all be wiped out! Now!
As you can see, we don't do too much damage at first, but the next time, we're hopefully going to get close enough and be able to attack the weak spot.
Okay, I got it.
Let's see. I also do need to save due to, doing the body shots. If, Maville were to miss a shot here, it would be very unfortunate.
Okay, I got it. I'll dodge everything you throw at me. Now!
Good job. Maville did it. Next, we get to do the fun one. We get to go and use Audrey and attack a tank from across the map.
Roger that.
And due to me being safe with things, I have 3. This is really nice because If you only have 2 CP, I'd have to do a safety save, but with 3,
Orders from the boss.
you get to play a little
Stronger
riskier.
than I look.
And if you land the second shot,
Fly true.
good job. This is pretty accurate in terms of landing the shots, but if we hit the treads, it will not do any damage to the body. What's really funny is it actually peppered the tread HP in the later games. It's usually just if you take it out, enemy tanks or your tank cannot move, but it's not the most, like, important mechanic. Anyway, onwards for... We now have Alicia back, and we're gonna have our last use in... It's kind of odd how scouts kind of, they get, like... They're usually the best units, but they get outclassed in the late game.
There are 3 switches total. Let's clear the way. Squad 7, move out.
Alright. And there are 3 switches, so we basically have to activate these 3 switches. And to do that, we're gonna go and use Alicia and run around the map. We're first gonna Defense Boost, and Awaken Potential. Defense Boost is optional for this, but it's very risky and it will make sense in a few seconds. So there's gonna be a shock trooper, and they're gonna do a lot of it.
Enemy sighted. Enemy sighted.
But the scarier thing is that, and they do
No.
much
shield.
more damage.
Enemy
As you can
nearby.
see, I am almost dead. The reason is I did not get resist crossfire, which you usually do. So what I'm gonna do is I'm first gonna go and see if we get double movement.
Gallia's only true.
Alright, we did not,
I'm
so
taking
we are gonna
extra
heal.
special care.
Fortunately, we only need 1 double movement for this. And you're gonna see the CP turn. I have like 6 shots,
Okay.
so usually not one we really think much. But no more scary turrets, but there's instead gonna be these guns above us that are just as scary.
More with
But as long as we get resist crossfire, we should be good.
enemy sighted.
Oh, very far away.
Gallia's only true fortress.
I'm a weapon. No.
Alright, no
a
resist
shield.
crossfire, so I'm
Think you
being...
can stop me?
No. We'll get it in a little.
Don't get careless. They could be anywhere.
Wait, what I got first aid boost? Actually, confused on what happened there. I'm supposed to get 200 HP, but good. We got the 3rd switch. And this is gonna be another time where we go and launch a train or something. And this is the 2nd train that gets destroyed during this game. Onwards to 15-2. Farewell. We're not going to deploy anything for this mission. And the next one as well. This is going to be our boss fight with Valkyria, who, she was in 2 missions, 7 and 13, but she's off-screen during the run, so we don't really ever see her. But basically, she's not using her Valkyria form, because she doesn't want to, and it's not really a good idea, because that means we can defeat her. This map is really complicated and large, but thankfully there's a trick we can do that just kind of solves it. First, we're going to use smoke round. When we're in smoke, the enemy can't see it. And Valkyria dodges basically everything. And so it's very important to do this from smoke. I'm going to try to aim around where her shoulder is, as weapons kind of go a little bit to the right, like, you have to aim to the right because it aims to the left. If you try to aim right towards her head, you tend to not get a lot of headshots. And yeah, very short mission due to using the smoke round. And then, right after the shortest mission in the game is the longest, with Chapter 16. And this one doesn't really have a whole lot going on. It's just an auto-scroller with the tank. Basically, the boss in Chapter 7 was a prototype for the Marmota. It's a really, really big tank. So it's a bigger tank than the big tank that we fought. This tank is so big that we can't fight it directly. So instead, we have a minefield, and we're gonna try to go and lure it. So our goal is basically to get the Marmota to follow us. So, there's gonna be these crates, and when we shoot them, it's gonna cause a rock slide. And then the rock slide's gonna make it so the Marmota can't go that way. And so the way this is gonna work is, I need to live, like I have to have at least one unit to live. So that's gonna be our tank. And I'm gonna end every turn, up until turn 5, in smoke round. Just so I don't have to watch enemies. Also, we're gonna have Sokka die. He's a story unit, so he's okay. And he also is no longer gonna be used in the run. We use him for one thing in the entire game, which is he has the gun, which is used to kill Savari. And aside from that, he is sadly not very useful.
Gotta love nature.
And now for our crates. Normally this is a really thing in the run, as Vulcan misses these a lot, but in New Game Plus, he should land the shots. So we shouldn't have like minutes of Vulcan trying his best. He should be able to do this. You can see like the circle basically over the target completely. And see, he did it. And then next, we're gonna go and forward, pull it forward a little bit, get into the smoke round, and end.
Any more and you'll be in danger.
There's gonna be the rock slide. We have to do 2 rock slides. That's the minimum you can do in order to get the Marmota to get to you in 7 turns. If you do like mess up or not and like don't get the rock slide in time, there's like other sets you can use. They give you some chances with this. Although I usually kind of like think of this as a breather mission casually, because there's not too many enemies on the screen to fight. And the game's pretty open about telling you not to be near the Marmota. It has a lot of turrets on it, and if you're in its radius, you get run over. So the next turn, turn 3, 4, pretty simple. We're gonna be doing the same thing on both. There's a little anti-tank barricade. We're gonna take it out with our tank. We're gonna move forward. And use him. And then we're gonna do that. And this is gonna be done twice, and then one more smoke round will be done. And we will be at the end. And yeah, the Marmota deploys mortars and launches them. Random trees and whatnot. You see the game slows down sometimes and hit the tree. And they're telling us that we have indeed made the Ramona follow us. They followed us the first time, and now just need to follow us this time.
Entering combat.
So, we're gonna go in once again, use our tank. There's an tank barricade. We're gonna take it out with the tank. If you do miss those, by the way, we basically would just try again. I originally used mortars for this because they are 100% consistent. But one day I
Here we go.
missed somehow with the mortar, and I was in a run PV pace, so I just kind of used the anti-armor round. And then I realized it's faster because the animation is way faster than that. Right, and smoke. This will be our final time. The reason is because, once we get to the end position of sorts for this mission, we won't need to use smoke round because we should presumably be out of range of all the enemies.
Here we go. Gotta love nature. Return fire.
So here's our crates. And just like before, there's only two of them. There's a little like spot you can see is a little dark on the screen earlier. I'm gonna stop around there. That should nothing to one, not be in the rock slide, and two, to not have any enemies see us.
Fire.
There's our second one. And rock slide eminence. And turn. And then after this, we have all the rock slides caused, so now we just end turn until the Marmota gets to the destination. Alright, we were in the correct position. Time to watch the Marmota. One more, and then the last one. This is where we go and get to see that the Marmota has a face paint. And you get to see this because you have to wait about 20 seconds or so. Right, and we got the last one. And so now they're going to go right to the goal. Unfortunately, this doesn't work at all, by the way. Everything we did in this chapter, it turns out the minefield, it just completely goes through. And so diverting it does not work. The goal was to stop them from getting to the capital, which the very next chapter, we're going to learn that they have in fact gotten to the capital. And that is going to be chapter 6. The final couple missions are actually much, much quicker than that one. In fact, they're collectively about the of chapter 16. First will be 17. This is going to be the map from chapter 4, but it's going to look way different because it's during the day. Alright, and hopefully I deployed correctly. Deployment on the last few missions is gonna be kinda strict. And if I did, in theory, not to do them, it would be very bad because, One thing I might not have mentioned, this game, there is no retry mission button, which is why I safety save a lot. Instead, the only way to retry a mission is either reload or die. But anyway, we're gonna use 2 orders this time: Demolition Boost and Penetration. These stack and are basically the really good for boss killing armored units. I'm also using a different shock trooper than the one I used back in Chapter 7. I'm using Kevin. This is because Kevin has double attack, which is 10% chance that he will attack twice. This is very good because he can let us skip some stuff if he gets it. And if we don't get it, he has T-Mag 20, which has the highest magazine capacity of machine guns, and that will win no matter, like, I don't need double attack, right? But this is also the tank from Chapter 5, but we have to fight it this time. Fortunately, they are not. And if I get double attack on this mission, we get a skip, like some stuff. So I'm going to aim towards the body, because after we destroy the armor, that is not the end. Instead, there's a second phase of sorts. And we get double attack, so they are not going to fight. Usually this, they'd have a cutscene and they'd explain their armor being off, but we got double attack, so we got to skip that. Alright. And now for Chapter 18. This is the final chapter, and it is a 2-parter with 18-1 and 18. 18-1 is going to be fighting the Marmota. Alicia turned into a Valkyria, and she hit a hole in it. This is going to be the weak spot that we normally would use, but we don't actually use. Instead, I'm going to deploy all of our leaders for CP plus Kevin, as once again, we're going to need T-Mag. It's just the really good boss killer for late game stuff. They're gonna go and explain a whole bunch of stuff, but we normally would use the said weak point to get up there, but get on like top of the ramp and get on the Marmota, but we don't need to do that. Instead, we can just take out the Marmota with using the same orders we did last mission. I'm gonna also safety save here because before we can start attacking, we have to take out these heat sinks, and the movement here can be really precise sometimes. And if I were to not move in the correct spot, there really isn't much of that. Anyway, we're gonna run through a whole bunch of fire. Doesn't really hurt much. We don't have any defensive orders up, by the way. Like, this is just... they're very weak. And if I did it correctly, I should just be able to see the right things. And then we can take it out. You can see there's a shield around that big lance. That was the lance we were trying to stop them from getting in the capital, but they ended up getting it. Then we're going to run over here and take out the second. And let's see if we get double attack. Alright, we didn't. You can get double attack or potentials in general when you have already completed the mission. There's actually a chance that I could defeat this lance and get double attack afterwards, even when it's at 0 health. Anyway, similar to last mission, I have 3 CP, and that's all I'm gonna go and need. I just got Metalhead, which is actually gonna help with dealing a little more damage. Although we don't need it. And similar to 17, if I get double attack, I get a skip when using 1 CP. If not, we'll just use 3.
can do that.
Alright, our last round, and we have destroyed the Valkoff. Time for the final mission. 18-2, we are gonna go and fight Maximilian, who has turned himself into an artificial Valkyrie. For this one, we are going to use 2 units for it. Marina and
This is our final
before we can actually attack Maximilian, we have to destroy these 3 little towers that are powering him, which is mostly what Marina is going to be for. And I also need to watch for this. The rubble that's falling is actually random, and it will appear on the map. Looks pretty good. And it could potentially be in the way of the quick count.
Good night.
It's kind of silly, but that is indeed a thing that can happen.
Sweet dreams.
We will see when we get there. So, that's our first tower.
The hunt
Second one,
begins.
very far away.
Checkmate.
And we're gonna use our sniper for it. You can use the tank to do this, by the way, but it's very, unreliable. Now we're gonna use penetration. And I am going to safety save. One thing that's actually very funny about this is if I do get bad luck here and have to go and reload, so when you take out the towers, it actually makes Maximilian deal less damage, but it only starts doing this if you reload a save.
I'm feeling extreme.
So, if I do have something go wrong, it will be easier next time.
I did it. Good work.
So we're gonna take out our 3rd tower. Count. And we're gonna run forward. We do not want to get attacked by it, as I only have enough HP to take,
I'm feeling extreme.
like, if all those were to land, I would not. So wait for him, and time is if Maximilian decides to die. So that is... We were not the best heads up. There's a decent chance that Max can survive. That is Valkyria Chronicles Plus.
The 25th day of October, 1935.
Here is our
The death of
credits.
Maximilian,
Everyone has
commander of
lived.
the Empire's invasion of Gallia paved the way for truce between the 2 nations. After 7 tumultuous months at war, Gallians everywhere looked forward to a time of hard-won peace. Squad 7 of the Gallian militia disbanded shortly after the conflict's conclusion. And its members began to
Pretty
move
nice run. If anyone wants to
following his or her
like get
own
into
path.
this, on PC we have a save that you can just download for New Game
End of their
Plus.
long struggle.
And for PS4, it probably takes like 8 or so hours to make a save if you use speedrun strats to play for any percent. So it's not like the longest New Game Plus. It's nowhere near like how some other New Game Pluses are in file prep. It's very nice how quick it is to make a file.